Hey guys, Primal Chaos here, and I'm going to do something today that has been requested fairly often. Whenever I've done something by, say, Ginger or any of the female-fronted stuff, Spirit Box, a lot of people keep bringing up the name Infected Rain. I haven't heard anything about them. I looked at the thumbnail. I assume it's a female-fronted band, obviously. The one thing I did look up, though, was this particular song, The Realm of Chaos. It seems like it's a pretty new song. It features Heidi Shepherd. So I looked up who Heidi Shepherd was so I could extricate her from the band and not feel like she's part of the group, because this is going to be my first interaction with Infected Rain. So I wanted to know who's who, right? Other than that, I got zero context. So there's very little to talk about. I'm just going to jump straight in and see where we go.
And the alchemy of good and bad.
Okay, so that's Heidi Shepherd, right?
Are we the bait? In the alchemy of good and bad, are we the hunters or are we the bait?
That's a low grind.
Good and bad.
In reality obscure, are we the fisherman, are we the lure? In reality obscure, fisherman, are we the lure? Blind into submission, God's light into self-destruction. To walk this course like a lost lamb, it won't shine. Rotten society.
All right. Wow. Okay. So there's a lot coming at you. Yeah. Right. Okay. So this is definitely like more, I guess, genty than sort of groove based, like you would expect from, say, Ginger. And also I've noticed the vocal styles are very different as well. This seems a little bit more like female fry screaming rather than the growling that Tatiana does. I could be really wrong on that, but it's just more the timbre. Her where she's sort of placing her fry sort of voice. I'm talking about the singer of the band. Heidi Shepherd's actually pretty similar, to be honest, but they sort of pitch them a lot higher. You know, where to me, it sounds far more feminine, right? Tatiana has this way of, like, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know if it was a male or a female sort of vocalizing, right? This one definitely sounds far more female, which is not a good or a bad thing. It's just different, right? Like there's definitely a different energy to the whole band because of that. Let me jump back a bit. I like to give the start of the song room to breathe before I go back and start sort of articulating parts of it, because that way I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt up front. Right? So let's jump back. The everything just sounds really low, right? There's nothing sort of mid-rangey. It's all like really sort of, all of the rhythm section is just compressed way down here, and then there's this big gap, and then there's vocals, which is cool. It kind of reminds me more of Korn and bands like that, though, which is interesting.
Hunters, or are we the bait?
Strange, right? Like, I mean, I know nothing's strange. This is all new to me, but like to my ears, it's really unusual because almost all of the extreme vocals I've experienced so far sort of come in different phases. You got your really low sort of growls, sort of down there sort of levels. Then you got your mid-range sort of more masculine fry sort of screams, which are more like raw down there. And then of course you got people like Will Ramos and stuff who have that high goblin sound up there, right? And this is sort of like in between those last two, right? It's kind of like too high to be a masculine fry scream, but it's not quite up there with like those topped out sort of like goblin yells, you know what I mean? Or goblin sort of squeezed out boxy sort of things, you know? So it's kind of in between that. It's interesting. It's interesting dynamic, particularly Heidi, right? Her voice is kind of more, there's no core in it, right? It's all just up here. I just noticed I'm too busy watching everything happen. There's so much going on musically that I just keep on glossing over. But I love that sort of, again, those high dissonant parts on the guitar. Sort of thing. It almost sounds like a warning siren or whatever. For whatever reason, I'm getting vibes from like Holy War, like Thy Art Is Murder. I don't know whether it's the imagery, like the way that they shot the clip, or it's that, I think they've got a part in their song that's kind of like that as well, with the high guitar parts going through that just make it sound uneasy. Just have a listen. There's the bass player. I like the use of, I don't know if it's sampling or if they're just making sounds and then affecting them in post, but there's some cool sort of elements there in the background. It's like an air raid siren that's being manipulated. I wonder what those no voice today. Still got the COVIDs, but those bits. Excuse me. I feel like I just walked into the wrong cave. It's like some sort of like a vampire jamboree going on. Yeah. You know what? I'm cocky enough to think that I'm going to get turned, but really they're just going to eat me. You know what I mean? No, that was really cool. That was really different. We'll be right back. You know who doesn't struggle to see red? Vampires. You see those guys? A bit scary. 1 in 6 guys, 1 in 200 women are colorblind. And there's something you can do about it. You can click the link in my description. It'll take you to Enchroma, where you can get an eye test and find out what kind of colorblindness you have. And while you're there, you can pick up some corrective lenses. They've got frames in all styles to suit everybody. And, you know, if you use the code CHAOS in checkout, you get 10% off. Tell them Primal Chaos sent you. Okay, first of all, thank you for the recommendation of this one. This was wildly different in a lot of different ways to a lot of the stuff that I've done previously on the channel. And it's kind of like a different spin on the extreme vocals. It's like a completely different recipe. And I'm not sure that most people would find that distinction, but to me, it's very different from everything else that I've done so far. Because it's made up of slightly different parts, right? So, you know, it's still metal and it's still female fronted, growling, screaming, all that sort of stuff. But it's down a completely different tangent. It's more sort of, like I said, it's kind of a bit more genty than it is groove based metal, like, say Ginger or whatever. But it has a lot in common with some of the more sort of deathcore sort of stuff that I've heard. And then the vocals are a completely different timbre, which is again really interesting to my ears because, you know, I was sort of getting to the point where I've heard a lot of the same thing come through, and this is different again, you know. It's kind of refreshing, to be perfectly honest, and I like that. That's really cool. I really want to dive in and hear some more of the stuff with just Infected Rain. So if you guys want to recommend what song I should probably do next, throw that in the comments. Because I know this is pretty new, and I know that having another person featuring on a song can really dictate how, you know, overall, like the song sort of resonates and how it sort of, you know, basically the end result of the song can be altered significantly by adding an extra person. So I'm curious to see how the addition of Heidi Shepherd, who is from the Butcher Babies, I think, how that has affected their overall sound, you know. So I'm really curious. Visually, the clip was really cool. Nothing that was like super over the top or different, but again, sometimes, you know, when you're sort of doing a song like this with a featured artist or whatever, you sort of put together what you can. You're not going to throw all of your ideas into making the biggest Infected Rain video of all time when you've got an outsider sort of performing with it. You know, typically you'll just put something together that's enough, and that's what this feels like. But man, what a cool song. Yeah, it's sort of, it's challenging the concepts I had of female metal vocals a little bit because it's different again. And so, you know, and again, if there's any other artists similar to this that you think I should listen to, hit me up, because this is like a really interesting tangent. You know, it was getting a little bit samey. Now I get to hear something that sort of throws me off kilter and go, oh, okay, there's more to this, right? So yeah, very cool. Very cool suggestion. Thank you so much. Again, if I've brightened your day at all, feel free to hit me up with a coffee. I'll put a link in the description. These videos all get demonetized, so that's that. Also, like, follow, share, subscribe, and yeah, thanks guys. I'll definitely be sort of checking out more of these guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.